Welcome back to the Bucs Planet podcast, everybody. Look, it's been a while, okay? It's been approximately at least 2 months since I've made an episode. We've been busy over here at Bucs Planet. Busy planet over here. It's a very busy planet, okay? And even though just the Bucs, I mean, look, the Bucs alone. I mean, what was my last video? I don't even see. This is how much I prepare for these episodes. I make sure to memorize this. Oh, it was after we lost to the Panthers the first time. Well, I guess we beat them the second time, but yeah, that was and I said this season was over, and yeah, and it basically was too. I got a lot of flack for that because they lost to the Steelers, and then they lost to the Panthers the following week. So let me fix this. And everyone's like, "Oh, you're overrated." And then we finished the season with a losing record. I mean, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the playoffs. They are. Okay, so I guess I was wrong in that regard, but I did not realize that finishing 8-9 would make the playoffs. I did not realize that this division would be this bad. It would be bad. We knew it would be bad. Didn't think it would be this bad. This is very, very bad. And but I mean, but here we are. Okay, I mean. We talk about this all day, but they got here. They don't deserve to be here. In no way, shape, or form do they deserve to be here. Let's just get that straight. Bowles should be fired. Leftwich should be fired. Keith Armstrong should be fired. The whole thing should be fired. The whole thing, in my opinion, if I'm the Glazers, I'm nuking the whole thing, and I'm getting and I'm trading for Sean Payton. That's just what I'm doing. That's my personal opinion. But they're in the playoffs. They're not going to get rid of Bowles, even if they get blown out in this game, which is a very, very possible outcome. They will, from what I've heard, get rid of Leftwich. I heard they're going to get rid of Leftwich pretty much no matter what. I mean, I guess not no matter what. It's like barring, like you go on some insane Super Bowl run. But, how that goes. So, let's talk about this matchup. This is interesting because the Bucs blew out the Cowboys when they first played. It was a very, very fun game to watch. It was an absolute blowout, a complete decimation of a football team to the likes that I haven't seen in a long time. I mean, 19-3, and the Bucs had the ball in the red zone like 5 times or something crazy. They just didn't execute terrifically in the red zone that game. But they still held them to only 3 points. And Dak played most of the game. He ended up getting injured. And since that game, these teams went on very, very different trajectories. Obviously, the Cowboys went on to win a bunch of games. They had a couple faults, but win a bunch of games. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers absolutely Titanics from that point in this season and pretty much never looked that good again on either side of the ball. But now, we've come full circle and we're going to meet again. And the Bucs don't have a great chance of winning this game. I'm just going to be honest, right? The Bucs match up good against the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are an ideal matchup for them out of like the possible outcomes we could have gotten. Obviously, you would have wanted the Seahawks or something. Would have been the best outcome, but that would have never been possible with our seeding. So our options were pretty much you either play the Cowboys or the Eagles. I think we actually ended up matching up pretty good against both teams, considering we beat the Eagles by 33 points in the first half, 33-0 in the first half, in the playoff game last year in the wild card round. So I think we match up good against them. I understand it's a different team, but still. And then the Cowboys also match up pretty good against because you've beaten them the last 2 years in a row. You beat them this season, even though a lot of different teams. I understand that, but I think from a mentality standpoint, it's like, okay, you can't beat this team. You can beat them. So, and Tom Brady's never lost to the Cowboys. I think there was a little bit of that aspect to it. So I think that this is somewhat of a good matchup for the Bucs. Doesn't mean they're going to win, obviously, because I mean, if the Bucs play the Chicago Bears or the Houston Texans, I mean, you don't know if you're going to win that game, to be honest. So that's where I stand in that regard. Just because this may be a good matchup doesn't mean you have pretty much any chance to win the game in all likelihood with this football team and how poorly it's coached, and we can get into all that. And so let's talk about how the Bucs need to beat the Cowboys. Okay. So offensively, one thing that I found was interesting when I was watching the film, which I just did, of the first Cowboys-Bucs game, is Leonard Fournette had 130 rushing yards in this game. 130. Okay, the Bucs ranked 32nd in run and rushing. But in that game, we had 130 rushing yards. Leonard Fournette 130 rushing yards. That's unbelievable. I've completely forgot about that. So hopefully you'd want to do that again, but they have literally have never done that again a singular time during the rest of the season, with the exception of the Seahawks game, and that was Rashad White. The Bucs are awful at running the ball, and quite frankly, I'm sick of I want Leftwich gone now, right now. Oh, in the middle of playoff week, Will? Yeah, I do, right now. I cannot stand him anymore. I mean, you talk about the most arrogant. I was going to say something there, but I'm not going to say it. He has to be the most arrogant, narcissistic, condescending loser I have ever heard speak before in my entire life. I mean, how oblivious is this guy? Do you ever listen to his post-game press conferences? I heard that this week. Even this week. He was talking about, I think that this is really a testament to how good we are as coaches, that the Bucs had all these player personnel issues and we still made the playoffs. I mean, are you delusional? Are you delusional, or, what is going on? Because, he doesn't accept any responsibility. Any single time, like Peter Report or the guys that I like, they ask him hard questions, it's always a deflect. Always a deflect. And Arians did it too, to an extent. He did do it too, to an extent. That's why I hate this coaching staff. They asked, what was this? Last week they asked him a question. They said, they were talking about his rushing and it's dropped off so much. And he goes, well, we've only dropped from 26th to 32nd, so it really hasn't dropped off that much. And he was being serious. He was not joking. Like, Aaron's probably says that, he's joking about it, right? But Lecter's being dead serious. We did, you guys keep complaining our running game dropped off a lot. It only dropped 5 spots or 6 spots. Yeah, and it's less. It's are you an idiot? Are you if I'm the Glazers in that moment, I hear him say that, I say you're gone. You're gone. Do you even understand how to accept responsibility at any point in your life? No, you don't. And here's what's going to be the other funny part. We're going to fire him, and then everyone's going to get the blame except him. That's just how it's going to be. We just know how it's going to be. He's an absolute failure of a coach. He's a failure of a person, failure of a leader, failure of he's a failure at life, in my opinion. He was absolute draft bust, okay? Then Arians goes on and absolutely carries him on his coaching staff. Arians had to redline, do all the work for Byron, carries him to a Super Bowl. Then Byron finally gets his own chance, he blows it, and then blames every single person except himself. And thinks he legitimately sits at night, and he goes to sleep. When he shuts his eyes, he goes to sleep thinking that he did a good job being an offensive coordinator. I actually think that. He has mentally convinced himself that he is good at his job. It's unreal. If you had a financial advisor or an investor, let's say you're investing in stocks, and you're a stock investor of people's money, all you do is see everyone lose money hand over fist. They give you your money, you lose all of it. That's what you do. How can you just tell yourself, that's essentially what he's doing. He's essentially doing that and then saying, oh, well, I'm a pretty good financial advisor. I think I know what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. We only lost $30,000 this month. You see that, that firm over there, they lost $32,000 this month. So I think we're doing all right. What are you doing? The guy's a freaking idiot. I'm so sick of him. I cannot wait. We might have to have a celebratory podcast with champagne when he gets fired. It's going to be the greatest day of all time. What an absolute idiot who can't accept responsibility. I can't even think of the other quotes too. They bring up stats and he'll just be like, oh yeah, well, you guys analyze stats. I analyze film. It's well, clearly you don't analyze either because you're bad at both aspects. Because we can pull up the film too. You want to take away the stats? Okay, let's throw out the stats. Okay, yeah, numbers don't mean anything. Who cares about stats? Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Let's put it that away, and then we turn on the film. And you're calling the worst plays I've literally ever seen before in my life. All the film, the whole thing's stupid. And to be honest, if you don't have Tom Brady, and we're gonna get into this too, they might have the number 1 overall pick. The Bucs might have the number 1 overall pick if you don't have Tom Brady this season. That's how bad it's been. They've won 8 games. Okay? How many times have we had a game that literally Tom Brady just single-handedly won for us because it was with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter and he carried us to the win? Rams, Saints, right? Those are just off the top of my head. Those two are absolutely not happening without Brady. Give me a break. And you can think of I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head right now. Obviously, the Cowboys was a pretty big blow up, but the first Saints game was somewhat close, kind of won because of a pick six. First Falcons game was not that close. But even those 2 games alone, it's if you don't have Brady, those don't happen. So And I know you guys saw how Gabbert and Trask looked in this offense, which is abysmal when they got some playing time in the Falcon game. It's going to be we're going back to the Stone Ages, folks. We're going back to the Stone Ages after he leaves. Let me tell you. But anyways, if we can finally get into this actual podcast content. So one of the reasons why Fournette was able to run really well in that game is the Cowboys played two safeties the entire game to kind of limit the passing attack. And that was able to open up the running lanes for us. Now, it's kind of hard to say, well, if they play two safeties, we'll run it good again. It's like, well, I don't know, because other teams play two safeties all season. We didn't know how to run the ball worth a penny. So, was it luck? Was it luck? Yeah, I would probably say it's luck. I don't think the Bucs are going to be able to run the ball again. They haven't run the ball all season, except that one game. And it was against the Cowboys, but it was in week 1, and that was the second weekend of September, and now we're going to be in the second weekend of January. So I think it was more so luck, honestly. Like when I'm watching film, it's like, oh yeah, they are executing well. Like I'm seeing the running concepts. I'm seeing Shaq Mason's getting like a pull block, and all these good things are happening in the run game. But it's like they never did that again. So it's like, how can I expect them to perform this time? I don't know. I don't try. I mean, obviously that'd be great because we know one thing with the Byron Leftwich offense. We know one thing. It's going to try to establish the run, and maybe it shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't even try it because it's just so abysmal. Yeah, we're going to try it anyways. We're going to try it on first down. Another issue with this offense is Donovan Smith was awful all season. He had a terrible year. I still believe in Donovan Smith personally. I wouldn't be mad if they got rid of him, though. He's had a terrible year. Okay? And that's another guy who, you know what? I'm sick of this culture because this is what happens. Donovan Smith is another guy who refuses to accept responsibility. What does he say? So he has like 8 bad games in a row. He has like a million holding penalties. And he goes, oh, well, I'm having personal reasons. It's not my fault. Not my fault, personal reasons. What the hell is wrong with this team and accepting responsibility? It's from the top down. It comes from ultimately Arians, Arians goes out there and he's like, oh yeah, it was Tom Brady's fault. It was, Tom Brady. And, we're about to make a big playoff run. Are you delusional? You are delusional. This team is below 500. And Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich sit up there on the podium, or they stand up there on the podium, and they say, can you believe how good of a job we've done this year? Because of the personnel issues, we still got them in the playoffs. They legitimately said that out loud. I was furious. I mean, I literally was about to crash my car. I heard it on the radio, and I was like, I was on this bridge. I was like, okay, yeah, we're taking a right turn off the bridge here because I can't listen to that anymore. I mean, what the hell? You talk about this, and it's like, what? Why? And then this trickles down to the players. Now, Donovan Smith has the worst season you ever heard of, and I'm having personal reasons, not my fault. Okay, whose fault is it? Because the buck has to stop somewhere. Where's it stopping? Where's it stopping? Where's the buck stop? Because if the buck doesn't stop anywhere, then there's no responsibility. There's nowhere to fix anything because it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Oh, but we're below 500. Whose fault is it? Oh, they're gonna make a documentary on how you can change a football team's culture from being one of the best in the league to one of the worst I've ever seen in my life in the span of 1 year. They're going to make a documentary. It's going to be called the 2020 to 2022 Tampa Bay Buccaneers Rise and Fall of a Culture. And it's going to be historic how fast. I mean, it is historic how fast that they ruined this culture. It's absolutely insane. I mean, the culture is ruined, and it's ruined. They need to nuke the whole thing. That's what they need to do, but that's okay. That's okay. We might. Hey, you never know. You never know. So Donovan Smith's going to be out there, and he had a terrible game week 1, and he's most likely going to have a terrible game again because he hasn't had a good game all season. And he's going to be blocking Micah Parsons, okay? Micah Parsons had 2 sacks on us last game. He hasn't had a sack recently. He's only had like a sack and a half since Thanksgiving, so he hasn't been great since Thanksgiving, but he's still very good, and we can't seem to block him, especially if you've put Donovan Smith on him with no help. You need to have help. And it's not looking too good from that aspect. If they can figure out Micah Parsons, they have a good chance of being good. Now, one of their strategies in the first game was that they attacked this cornerback from the Cowboys named Anthony Brown, who's their second cornerback aside, who plays across from Trayvon Diggs. And we attacked him all game. It was like the game plan was throw at Anthony Brown, and it worked really well. Okay, Anthony Brown's in the IR. He's not playing in this game. Okay, they have a corner that is obviously he's also bad, but Anthony Brown's probably a little bit worse, so we can't really do that strategy again. So one thing that I think they should do and that they need to do is they need to be aggressive like they were in Carolina again. They have to do it. I know every time we ask for it, Byron says, "Oh well, you fans don't know anything. You just want to see other things." It actually works though. Okay, if you go deep to Mike Evans, or at least try it. Okay, at least try to go deep to all these players a lot, early and often. I think they're going to have more success because this team. I mean, I think the longest touchdown all season before that Carolina game was something crazy. It was like 19 yards or like 29 yards. It was like something like not even that long whatsoever. That was our longest touchdown all season. This team operates better aggressively. That's why, the 2-minute drills we're always super good at. At the no huddle stuff, we're always good at it. We're better at being aggressive. We just are not the team that runs the ball on 2 downs and then throws it short 1 down, and that's how we move the ball. Like we're not efficient enough to do that. We're just not. We're a big play team, and we don't have enough big plays. So how about you dial it up, okay? This is a good defense, right? The pass rush is good, all right? Bring a guy, double block Micah Parsons or something, and let's throw the dang ball deep. Brady can do it. He can. He showed us he can still. I've known all year he can, but he regressed a little bit in the middle of the season, which I believe was a result, not physically, but a result of him trying to overcompensate for how bad this offense has been. So he's been making bad decisions, but he's been a little bit better recently. And look, they're going to have to figure something out here because they need to go deep early and often. That's my thing. Deep early and deep often. Pass, play action. Run the ball a little just because you have to, but I'm not running the ball the whole game like they're most likely are, if we're being honest. They need to be aggressive like the Carolina game. Now, defensively, this is the thing that was very interesting from the first game, okay? The defense looked outstanding in the first game. It was best defense in the National Football League after that game. They allowed 3 points. They had turnovers and all these things. And then the defense essentially was not that great the rest of the year. I know statistically they look good. They didn't cause any turnovers, okay? I mean, they had their turnover. They got I think they almost set an NFL record for most games without a turnover in a row, right? We almost set that record. We definitely had it set the record for the season. And we don't get turnovers. We barely get sacks anymore. The linebackers, Devin White has been iffy, in my opinion. And, but for some reason, they played really good against the Cowboys the first time. And I know why they did that, because I watched that game again recently. And Bowles was really good in that game specifically. So Bowles is a terrible head coach, and he should be fired. We know that. Now, Bowles is good still at disguising certain coverages on defense. He is good at that still. And he did a really great job of it in the Dallas game. There was multiple times where, we would look like we have 5 guys on the line, or 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, then 2 of them drop back, 2 of them blitz, and it was the 2 guys that were in the middle would blitz, 2 guys on the outside would drop back that looked like defensive ends. It confused Dak. He got confused multiple times, led him to kind of second questioning his read, which, that extra 1 second allows us to get a sack or an incompletion or a pick or a fumble or something. And that's really what made the difference in the game. So if Bowles wants to dial it up, if we want to win this game, we're going to need the defense again. We're going to need this defense and Todd Bowles to call disguising coverages that confuse Dak. They're going to be prepared for it this time, when we know that. But you're going to have to call it again. And the good news is we're going to have Carlton Davis back in this game, who, held CeeDee Lamb to nothing. We're going to have Jamel Dean in this game. Antoine Winfield's going to play. So the secondary should be good from that aspect. The linebackers are all going to play. Now, we're not going to have Shaq Barrett, which is a big loss from the first game, considering Joe Tryon's mid, and then Anthony Nelson's also mid. But again, if you can disguise coverages and blitzes like the way Todd Bowles does, you can kind of get a good pass rush anyways, as long as your secondary can hold up, which has been iffy for us. But look, they have a chance to win. I don't think they will, personally, but They have a chance to win this game if they can disguise the coverages and confuse Prescott. You're not just going to line up and beat them. We're not good enough to do that. We should be, but we're not because we're poorly coached. So we're actually, ironically, going to need like exotic defensive coaching to kind of bail us out of this. And I don't know if we can. That's, we're going to have to wait and see on that. But look, being aggressive on offense, deep, early, and often, okay? Don't become obsessed with the run. Don't become obsessed with it. Okay, you should run a little, but don't become obsessed. Okay, it's ridiculous. Keep throwing the ball. We have good receivers. Throw it to them, right? Help Donovan Smith out because he needs help in all aspects of life, if we're being honest. On defense, you have to call exotic, confusing plays with, the blitzes, the coverages, and, rolling coverages where the safety comes up after the ball snaps and he becomes a linebacker drops back and you don't know what the hell's going on. That's what we need to do to Dak. It worked the first time. We need it to work again. That's the only way the defense is going to really survive this game and keep us in it for the offense. So that's pretty much all that I have for this game. Again, this game could go a lot of ways. Like the Bucs could win this game. It could be, if this is a super low scoring game, the Bucs I think win it. If it's like I don't know, 18 to 13 or something. Like if both teams get under 20, I think I'll give us a chance to win it just because, if Brady gets the ball in his hands late, he just makes it happen. He just does. So if we get that chance, I think we'll win it. But if it's one of those games where we're doing a bunch of dumb things and, Byron Leftwich is calling run, screen to Godwin, and then incomplete on third down, which is our normal MO until 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, we don't have a chance. But we'll have a chance and the other way. So, depending on the flow of the game, the Bucs win depending on the flow of the game. So, like I said, if it's under 20, if it's a low score, defensive thing, I think we can win. That doesn't mean we will, but I think we actually could win in that scenario. If it's a high-scoring track mean we're not winning. We're just not. The offense is not good. It's bottom 5. It's a bottom 5 offense. Oh, but Byron Leftwich, yeah, I forgot this quote. I forgot this one. This is one it was. He goes, guys, yeah, everybody's complaining about this offense and criticizing me and everything, but, we're actually ranked, number 11 in yards, so we're pretty good, so you guys don't know what you're talking about. It's what? First of all, that's not even good. 12 or 11th in yards is above average. It's not good. Good, considering who's on this offense and how much we're paying for this thing, from a contract standpoint of who's on offense. We need to be top, bare minimum, you're top 7, top 6, top 5. Bare minimum. And then even that, it's who cares about yards because the Bucs are 26th or something or 28th in points per game. But Byron Leftwich goes out there and he goes, "Oh, we're doing a pretty good job. We're 11th in yards. So yeah, not our fault." It's but you're last in points. You're last in rushing. Oh, but they only dropped from 26th to 32nd in rushing, so they're actually pretty good. You guys are just over-exaggerating it. What an idiot. I hate that guy. I cannot wait till he gets fired. There's a part of me that hopes we absolutely get ran off the field, we score 0 points, and then we see not Malcolm, he's dead. We see Joel Glazer and his brothers run onto the field and say, "Leftwich, here's your plane. We have our private plane from Man U. Get the hell out of here. You're done." I can't stand him. He's an idiot. He literally has no self-awareness. He doesn't accept responsibility, and it's causing this locker room to also not to accept responsibility. Okay, whatever. I got it. Enough. All right, look. It's the playoffs now. All right. Anything could happen. The Bucs are not good. Okay, we don't deserve to be here, but we are here, so might as well make the most of it. And those are my keys to the game. So just remember, I don't know if you guys hopefully are going to be, going to the game, but just remember those things when you're watching it, and I guess I'll see you for the debrief after the game next week, and hopefully it'll be a win. Either way, go Bucs as always.